The whole nation has been debating the merits of the Har Ghar Tiranga campaign announced by the central government. But I think this controversy has given us the opportunity to look at the fascinating history of our national flag. The national flag, the whole concept was actually mooted by uh, the colonial state as early as the 1860s. And what they came up with followed the imperial logic of representing India within the British Empire. And just like the Dominion flags of Canada and Australia, a symbol was assigned for India. That was the star. The Order of the Star of India, which was presented to those loyal to the British Crown, and which at a later date also inspired the logo of the Board of Control for Cricket in India, the BCCI, essentially became the flag of India. Star of India flag was what represented India and Indians, not just within the Indian subcontinent, but also outside of it. For instance, if you look at the Indian Olympic team that represented India in several Olympics, they carried the flag of India, the Star of India flag. But the colonial officialdom was not very happy with what they had come up with, and they thought that perhaps this was not representative enough of the country, so they were thinking about other ideas for a flag of India. But all that talk did not result in anything substantial. Therefore, by 1885, the Star of India flag was formalized as the flag of British India. That was also the time when the Indian National Congress came into existence. Now, Indians who were agitating for self-rule, both within and outside of the Indian National Congress, they were not very happy with this flag. And they thought that perhaps India needed something more representative of its diversity. So they started looking for their own symbols. Now, initially, the nationalists, they were looking for such symbols within the Hindu religious iconography. But after a while, it became clear to all agitators that such symbols had very limited appeal. So the search for something larger happened. And the partition of Bengal of 1905 gave Indians that opportunity. Now, Margaret Elizabeth Noble, whom we know better as Sister Nivedita, she was a disciple of Swami Vivekananda. She was among the earliest to come up with a design for a national flag. And she even presented it to the Indian National Congress. But the flag was based entirely on Hindu religious iconography, with Indra's Vajra in yellow at the center and set on a red background, aligned with 108 diyas forming the border. Now, the Congress displayed it in 1906, but there wasn't much enthusiasm about this flag because of the limited appeal of it being set in Hindu religious iconography. But at the same time, there was another flag which was designed by Bengali nationalists Sachindranath Bose and Sukumar Mitra. And this was also hoisted in 1906 in Calcutta. That eventually came to be known as the Calcutta flag. And it was the first time a flag with three horizontal color bands, in other words, a tricolor, was hoisted in India. And historians have pointed out that this was the moment when a symbol of the bourgeois revolutions in Europe entered the Indian subcontinent. And so, for the French tricolor, for instance, a symbol of the French Revolution, which then inspired other flags when the revolutions of 1848 swept across Europe. So the idea definitely was based on this. So the Calcutta flag had orange, yellow, and green, topped by 8 lotuses or lotus buds, and with Vande Mataram written in Devanagari in the middle, and the sun and the crescent moon at the bottom on the green band of the flag. Now, obviously, nobody really talked about the religious significance of this, but this pretty much represented an inclusive nationalist politics as opposed to one that centered on religion. Now, this flag then inspired other flags. For instance, the flag that was hoisted in Stuttgart, Germany in 1907 by Madame Pikaji Kama at the Seventh Socialist Congress of the Second International. Now, she gave a very powerful speech in which she appealed to all attendees to work for India's liberation and adopt this new flag as a symbol of resistance. Now, this was a very unique moment in the history of the anti colonial struggle, as for the first time, a flag was used as a nationalist symbol to symbolize India outside her physical boundaries and represent her struggle against British imperialism. At the same time, it was an internationalist banner set against tyranny and oppression. Um, uh, Sorry, I'm going to say this again. um, this was perhaps a unique moment in history. Sorry, if it's okay. Um, I think I said something I was not supposed to, but anyway. So this was a unique moment in the history of the anti-colonial struggle, as for the first time, a flag was used as a nationalist symbol to represent India and the struggle against British imperialism. But at the same time, it was also an internationalist symbol. Uh, it was a banner that was supposed to be used against tyranny and oppression. Now, from this point on, most flags that were designed in India as national flags were tricolors. But there was no single flag that worked as a national flag, and the colonial state continued to enforce the use of the Star of India flag and its variants as India's official flag. By 1921, though, under the aegis of Mahatma Gandhi, because with the coming of Gandhi in 1915, the nationalist struggle had entered a new phase. And by 1921, Gandhi had popularized a new flag, which was designed by Pingali Venkaiah. And this one was also a tricolor, and it had white on top, green in the middle, and red at the bottom, with a charkha in the middle, but touching all the three bands. Now, Gandhi spelled out the inclusiveness of the flag. Red symbolized the Hindu community, the Hindus who were the majority. And being the majority community, it was on the Hindus to safeguard the interests of the minorities. That was Gandhi's reasoning. Therefore, green, which came on top of red, represented Muslims. And white represented, it was a top band, and it represented all the other minority faiths. Now, the non-cooperation movement was still on at this time, and so was the Khilafat agitation. And Gandhi thought that for greater unity and solidarity, the country needed a true national flag that people could embrace and which wasn't a state symbol. Now, Gandhi underlined the importance of a national flag when he wrote in Young India on April the 13th, 1921, and I'm going to quote it for you. A quote, "A flag is a necessity for all nations. Millions have died for it. It is no doubt a kind of idolatry which it would be sin to destroy, for a flag represents an ideal." Unquote. Now, Gandhi's words caught on with many members of the public as well as the rank and file of the Indian National Congress. So in 1922, the Congress cadre hoisted this flag, this national flag, in Jabalpur in the central provinces, even at government buildings. And that led to a lot of noise, and the colonial state was suddenly very jittery. It was even discussed in the British Parliament. And the state authorities were told not to encourage any such symbolism. And so, when the following year in 1923, the Congress cadres decided to hoist the flag in a similar way in Jabalpur, it was resisted by the state. There was some action. But the local Congress units, both in Jabalpur and in Nagpur, they responded with a Jhanda Andolan, or a flag satyagraha, especially in Nagpur. Now, this lasted several months and led to many arrests. It was this moment, actually, that turned the the Congress flag into something more than that, a national flag, because the news of it spread to other parts of the country where public enthusiasm grew for the flag. And the flag became, and this particular flag became, the most important symbol of anti colonial defiance. Now, there was some resistance as well because Gandhi was forced to delink the flag colors from religious communities, as there was criticism for his action, especially by the Sikhs, who thought that the flag was not representative enough of them. They wanted a black band to be inserted in the flag, which would represent them. And Gandhi was obviously he was not very happy, and he wrote about it substantially, and he said that there was absolutely no need to have another band because these three colors, and especially white, which represented other minorities, was good enough to cover all communities. Now, by the time the Lahore Congress session happened in 1929, and it was here that the Purna Swaraj, or total independence, the call for total independence, was given. Um, Gandhi was also forced to decommunalize the flag because of all that debate and criticism which was happening. He finally decided to step away from his that communal reasoning, that symbolism that he was stressing on, and he now interpreted the colors in a different way, with white standing for sacrifice, white standing for hope. Um, um, uh, sorry, I think. Well, sorry, white standing. Sorry, I'll say this again. Now, Gandhi was forced to delink the flag from communities, and this decommunalization led to a new interpretation of the flag, which Gandhi himself provided. Gandhi was also forced to decommunalize the flag. He now interpreted the colors as white standing for purity, green for hope, and red for sacrifice. Jawaharlal Nehru, who hoisted this flag in 1929, um, okay, let me say this again. So, Jawaharlal Nehru, he hoisted this flag in December 1929, and subsequently, 26th January was chosen as the Independence Day. So, from 26th January 1930 until 26th January 1947, Congress celebrated it as the Independence Day, and the flag was hoisted as a national flag. Now, it was only at the Karachi session of the Indian National Congress in 1931 that this flag was officially adopted by the Congress. Until this point, even though the Congress had used the flag, it was still not adopted officially. But in 1931, this flag, with some changes, now the flag was redesigned, and you had saffron on top, white in the middle, and green at the bottom. And the charkha was in the middle band. Now, this became the new flag for the Congress, and the symbolism remained the same. And the symbolism remained the same, but the flag meant different things to different people, obviously. But it was Nehru again who ultimately redefined the philosophy of the flag. When he moved the flag resolution in the Constituent Assembly on July the 22nd, 1947, he articulated the symbolism of the flag. And he said that the flag represented a symbol of freedom for all humanity. So he situated the national flag in an internationalist tradition as well, of being a banner against tyranny, oppression, exploitation, and anti colonial resistance. So there was a clear break with Gandhi here. Now, Gandhi's charkha, which was replaced by Nehru with a chakra, the Ashoka chakra, or the wheel. This was in keeping with international heraldic standards. And Nehru actually gave the reasoning that, he didn't give a very philosophical reasoning officially, but he said that it was difficult to print the charkha properly on both sides of the flag, and the wheel was easier, and the wheel also resonated with a lot of other people because it symbolized progress, and even workers' movements, they could relate to the wheel, which stood for progress and labor as well. Now, Gandhi's flag was intended to be a flag of the people and for the people. Nehru turned the flag into a sole property of the state. Now, the Flag Code of 1950, which was instituted, as well as the Emblems and Names Prevention of Improper Use Act. So these two established the state monopoly over the flag. Now, people could now be penalized for wrong display of the flag, or for insulting the flag. And it was the state which decided on which days the people could hoist the flag. Now, in the decades that followed, the state continued to tighten its grip, but at the same time, it also popularized the use of the flag. It started loosening its grip only 2002 onwards, when, after a long court battle fought by Congress leader Naveen Jindal, the flag once again returned to the people. Anyone could now fly the flag any day. But the state continues to assert its ownership from time to time. And when we see the Har Ghar Tiranga campaign, it, at the end of the day, is also a state diktat to the people to celebrate the flag.
It's great to see you here. Thank you for watching our work. If you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to click the bell icon and subscribe to Mojo Story and support independent, robust journalism.